Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. I haven't said anything in this video up until this point because I was a little bit nervous. I had a lot of different things that could go wrong right there. So this is a big old red oak right here. This came from Uncle Jay's place, and he's going to make a tabletop out of this. And what we were shooting for was to keep it as wide as possible. I had to trim this off right here, and I only got maybe 3/8 of an inch clearance. I trimmed this side as well over here. Probably got about an inch of clearance on this side. So far everything's working out pretty well. The log is not even clamped to the mill. It's too wide, and the way it's sitting there, it's just kind of hard to get the clamps on it. So I wedged like a board back there, cut a couple wedges and drove them under right here. Once I get this next piece off, this may be the one that he uses. I'm thinking he will. This is pretty darn nice right here. Once I get this piece off, I'll lift the whole log off with the excavator, flip it over, and have a nice flat side to sit on the mill, and I won't have to worry about it as much. So the next cut there, kind of critical. And I'm kind of trying to look there. Where I trim that off, it does flare out just a little, but boy, is that tight. I mean, gonna be tight. Yeah, we'll have to see. Now this tabletop is gonna take an awful long time to dry because it's gonna be 4 inches thick. The tree was dead and down for a long time, but it's still very wet. What Jay does, he has a heated shop with radiant floor heat, and he will stack and sticker this lumber, and when it's ready to go, he'll build a beautiful table out of it. He's an incredible woodworker, and you know, there's a lot of debate between air-dried versus kiln-dried lumber. You see all different types of opinions. I probably prefer kiln-dried just because, I don't know really, just as long as it's dry, I guess. But in Jay's house, he built all his cabinets, all his trim, furniture. Like I said, he's a really good woodworker out of air-dried lumber, and that was years ago, and it's still holding up perfectly well. No twisting, cupping, checking, anything like that. All the joints are nice and tight, so I think you just need to make sure you have dry lumber. And when you think about it, you know, all that beautiful woodworking in old buildings from 150 years ago, they didn't have vacuum kilns back then. So, but anyway, let's see if our luck continues here and this log doesn't move, and I'll take a big 4-inch piece off of there. right, I've kind of been filming on and off today, about kind of bring you up to speed here, what I got going on. I brought this big pallet down here. I'm going to start stockpiling those big rounds on there. I'll probably have to put maybe 1 or 2 more down. I'll fill that all up. And then I mentioned the other day, I have a log splitter coming for the excavator to handle this real big stuff. What I'll do, I'll grab them, swing them over here by the splitter, you know, bust them down to size a little bit, and then I will finish them off with the Wolfe Ridge, because most of that stuff there will go as bundle firewood. And I'll tell you what, I want to mention something. This 500i right here, it's amazing. It really is. When I'm cutting stuff like that, you know, that stuff's probably, I don't know, it's 30 inches in diameter, red oak. And when that thing gets down into the center of that log, you would swear that it's all rotted out inside, because it just blows right through it. And it's not. That's how fast that saw cuts. It's just absolutely amazing for that big stuff. I do have some real big ones, I don't know, 40 inches or 44 inches. Maybe tomorrow I'll bring that MS500i down and we'll use it on those. I'm slowly getting things cleaned up down here. We're going to split some more wood right now. And then I got to show you the difference between 2 cameras and how I changed my opinion on them. All right, it's going to get dark here soon. Before I split any more wood, I want to show you 2 different cameras. And I didn't even turn the conveyor on, because we're going to use this wood in the conveyor for a little test on these 2 cameras. All right, like I said, a lot of people ask what kind of cameras I use. I'm just going to quickly go over these 2 action cameras. I use these quite a bit. You know, I have a Canon M50 and the Rode wireless mics, all that. But when you're out moving around doing things, these little cameras are pretty handy. This is the DJI Osmo Action. Now, for probably 2 years, I preferred the DJI Osmos over the GoPro. Now, I didn't have a GoPro 10. That was based on the older GoPros. I recently bought a GoPro 10. This one right here, the microphone is a lot better. The image quality is a lot better, you know, video quality, in my opinion. And this shoots in 4K 60 frames per second, whereas this will do 4K in 30 frames per second. And that makes a big difference if you're, you know, doing like B-roll stuff in slow motion. So now I prefer the GoPro 10, but I will say the GoPro 10 is a little quirky at times. It has frozen up on me 4 or 5 times. I never lost any video on it or anything like that, but occasionally you got to pull the battery out of it. So it's been a little bit quirky, but overall I do like the new GoPro 10s better than the DJI Osmo Actions. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, DJI recently came out with a much better version of this. Well, it's a lot more capable, but from what I've been hearing, they overheat. I'm not sure. I haven't used one yet. I may try one, but in the meantime, I think I will get another GoPro 10. This is just a magnetic mount right here, so when you see shots like on the side of the machine or log splitter or something, it's usually coming from this. But when I'm just like walking around talking now, I've been using the GoPro 10 quite a bit. And I do think I'm going to slowly phase these out. I've got, I don't know, 3 or 4 of these. And yeah, 3 or 4 of them. One of them is no longer operational. I'll just leave it at that. Well, I smashed it. So one of those is toast. But yeah, I'm going to switch to the GoPro 10. I will put links in the description. You know, like I said, this is not a camera review. I'm just telling you my personal experience with them. And GoPro 10 is now my go-to action camera. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to fire up the conveyor, and we'll set both of these up pointed at the firewood bin, and we'll do a side-by-side using both cameras. And then I'll slow it way down, and you'll see the difference that 60 frames per second does versus the 30 frame per second. I started shooting in 4K, I don't know, it's been a while now, and I just like it. And people, you know, watch our videos on big TVs and stuff, so I try to get the best quality that I can. It takes a lot longer to upload and everything in 4K, but I'll never go back to the 1080 stuff. And now I'm using the DJI Osmo Action. Something else I will mention, with the Osmo Action, I need to play around with the audio more when editing than I do when I'm using the GoPro 10. So right now I'm using the GoPro 10, and now I'm using the DJI Osmo Action. Something else I will mention, with the Osmo Action, I need to play around with the audio more when editing than I do when I'm using the GoPro 10. I gotta get splitting more wood. Levi was down here a little bit ago, filled 2 more baskets. He's taking it out of there as quick as I'm putting it in there. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. I really appreciate y'all being here. And like I said, I will put a link in the description for both cameras, the GoPro 10 and the DJI Osmo Action. They're both good. I just prefer the GoPro 10 now. And I never thought I'd say that because I had a bad run with GoPros early on, but they finally seem to have turned it around. But I think that's about it. So like I always say, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like button, click subscribe, and share them with your friends. Thanks.